capitalism, a word that reverberates through classrooms, boardrooms, and living rooms across the globe. It is a system that has, for better or for worse, shaped the modern world as we know it. But what truly lies beneath the surface of this ubiquitous economic model? At its core, capitalism thrives on the private ownership of the means of production. The factories, the land, the resources, all concentrated in the hands of a select few. This fundamental principle, while lauded for its potential to spur innovation and economic growth, casts a long shadow, one that stretches far beyond the balance sheets and stock markets. The tendrils of capitalism reach deep into the fabric of our lives, influencing everything from the food we consume to the information we receive. It dictates the terms of our labor, often prioritizing profit over the well-being of the workforce. Its global reach is undeniable, creating a complex web of interconnected economies where the actions of one nation reverberate across borders, impacting the lives of millions. This intricate dance of capital, labor, and resources presents a compelling paradox, one where immense wealth coexists alongside widespread poverty and inequality. While often hailed as an engine of progress, capitalism possesses an inherent paradox. Its pursuit of profit often comes at the expense of human well-being. The relentless drive for efficiency and productivity can trap individuals in monotonous, dehumanizing jobs, eroding their sense of purpose and autonomy. The pressure to consume, fueled by relentless advertising and a culture of instant gratification, leaves many feeling perpetually inadequate and dissatisfied. Moreover, capitalism thrives on competition, pitting individuals against each other in a race for limited resources and opportunities. This constant struggle for advancement fosters a climate of anxiety, insecurity, and social isolation. The breakdown of traditional communities and support systems further exacerbates this sense of alienation, leaving individuals feeling adrift in a sea of relentless competition. The pursuit of individual gain often overshadows collective well-being, leading to a decline in social cohesion and a rise in feelings of loneliness and despair. In the intricate machinery of capitalism, propaganda serves as a powerful lubricant, ensuring the smooth functioning of the system by shaping public perception and maintaining the status quo. Through a constant barrage of carefully crafted messages, it seeks to normalize the inherent inequalities and injustices of the capitalist order, presenting them as natural and inevitable consequences of human nature. One of the most effective tools in capitalism's arsenal is the myth of the self-made individual. This pervasive narrative glorifies those who have achieved financial success, portraying them as shining examples of hard work and determination, while conveniently downplaying the role of privilege, luck, and systemic advantages. This narrative serves to deflect attention away from the structural barriers that impede social mobility, perpetuating the illusion that anyone, regardless of their background, can achieve prosperity through sheer willpower. Capitalism, in its quest to maintain its grip on society, deftly manipulates one of the most fundamental aspects of the human experience, our sense of self. It cleverly intertwines our identities with our consumption habits, leading us to believe that who we are is reflected in what we own and how we spend our money. This carefully crafted illusion of choice, where we are bombarded with a dizzying array of products and services, creates the perception of freedom and self-expression. We are led to believe that by purchasing the right clothes, gadgets, or experiences, we can curate our desired identities and project them onto the world. This constant pressure to consume, fueled by relentless advertising and the ever-present allure of the next best thing, keeps us locked in a perpetual cycle of desire and acquisition. The pursuit of material possessions becomes a substitute for genuine fulfillment, leaving us feeling perpetually inadequate and longing for more. This manufactured discontent serves a crucial purpose within the capitalist system, driving economic growth and ensuring a steady stream of profits for corporations. Capitalism thrives in an environment where individuals are preoccupied with their own pursuits and remain largely unaware of the systemic issues that perpetuate inequality and injustice. To achieve this, it employs a powerful tool distraction. By bombarding us with a constant stream of entertainment, trivia, and sensationalized news, capitalism effectively diverts our attention away from the crucial issues of the day, preventing us from critically examining the system that governs our lives. The rise of mass media, particularly the proliferation of television, social media, and online platforms, has created an unprecedented ecosystem of distraction. Our attention spans have become increasingly fragmented, our minds constantly stimulated by a never-ending stream of information and entertainment. This constant bombardment leaves little room for critical thought or engagement with complex social and political issues. While outright censorship may be a blunt instrument, capitalism has mastered the art of shaping public opinion through far more subtle and insidious means. It is a system that excels at manufacturing consent, subtly nudging the masses towards accepting its ideologies and policies, even when those policies run counter to their best interests. This manipulation occurs not through brute force, but through a sophisticated web of influence that pervades our institutions, our media, and even our language. Think tanks and research institutions, often funded by powerful corporations and wealthy individuals, play a crucial role in shaping the parameters of acceptable discourse. By producing studies and reports that support pro-capitalist narratives, they provide an air of legitimacy to policies that benefit the elite, while subtly discrediting alternative viewpoints. These seemingly objective findings then filter down to the public through carefully curated media channels, further solidifying the dominant narrative. While capitalism may excel at manufacturing consent, it is also acutely aware of the threat posed by dissenting voices, those who dare to challenge its narratives and expose its inherent flaws. To maintain its grip on power, capitalism employs a range of tactics to silence, discredit, or marginalize these voices of resistance, ensuring that their messages do not gain widespread traction. One of the most effective ways to neutralize dissent is through co-option. By absorbing potentially threatening individuals or movements into the mainstream, capitalism can defang their critiques and render them less potent. This can take the form of offering prominent activists lucrative positions within corporations or institutions, effectively silencing their critiques in exchange for financial security and influence. At the heart of capitalism's contradictions lies a stark and undeniable truth. The relentless pursuit of profit, while championed as a driver of progress, inevitably leads to a concentration of wealth in the hands of a privileged few. This fundamental imbalance, this ever-widening chasm between the haves and the have-nots, is not an unfortunate byproduct of the system. It is the system working precisely as designed. The very mechanisms that allow capitalism to flourish, competition, private ownership, and the relentless drive for efficiency, also contain the seeds of its own undoing, eroding the very foundations of social cohesion upon which any stable society depends. As wealth becomes increasingly concentrated at the top of the economic pyramid, it creates a ripple effect that reverberates throughout society, shaping everything from access to healthcare and education to the very air we breathe and the water we drink. The wealthy, with their vast fortunes and disproportionate influence, can afford to insulate themselves from the worst effects of societal ills, securing access to the best healthcare, education, and opportunities for their children, while the rest are left to navigate a system increasingly rigged against them. One of the most pernicious consequences of capitalism in its current form is the rise of the precariat, a growing class of individuals trapped in a perpetual state of economic insecurity and uncertainty. These are the workers relegated to the fringes of the labor market, toiling away in low-wage, dead-end jobs with few benefits, limited job security, and little hope for advancement. They are the human face of capitalism's insatiable appetite for cheap, disposable labor, their lives marked by a constant struggle to make ends meet. The precariat is not confined to any one industry or sector. Its ranks are filled with gig workers, freelancers, contract employees, and those stuck in part-time positions, all struggling to piece together a living in an economy that increasingly prioritizes flexibility and cost-cutting over stability and fair compensation. They are the invisible workforce that keeps the wheels of the global economy turning, delivering our food, cleaning our offices, and caring for our elderly, yet they often struggle to afford the very necessities of life. The pursuit of endless economic growth, a central tenet of capitalist ideology, has come at a steep price: the relentless degradation of the very environment upon which all life depends. Capitalism, in its insatiable thirst for profit and its myopic focus on short-term gains, has unleashed a torrent of environmental destruction, poisoning our air, polluting our water, and pushing countless species to the brink of extinction. The consequences of this ecological recklessness are already being felt around the world, from rising sea levels and extreme weather events to widespread deforestation and mass extinction. The very nature of capitalism, with its emphasis on competition, consumption, and the relentless pursuit of profit, is inherently at odds with the principles of ecological sustainability. Corporations, driven by the need to maximize shareholder value, often prioritize short-term profits over long-term environmental consequences. The true cost of their actions, the pollution they generate, the resources they deplete, the damage they inflict on ecosystems, is rarely reflected in the price of the goods they produce, leaving future generations to grapple with the consequences of our unsustainable consumption. In the relentless calculus of capitalism, even the most fundamental human needs, healthcare, education, housing, are reduced to mere commodities, their value measured in terms of profit and loss rather than human dignity and well-being. This commodification of essential services has created a system where access to healthcare, education, and affordable housing is increasingly determined by one's position on the economic ladder rather than their inherent right as human beings. Healthcare, a fundamental human right in many parts of the world, becomes a luxury good under a system driven by profit. Pharmaceutical companies, beholden to their shareholders, prioritize profits over patients, charging exorbitant prices for life-saving medications and treatments. Insurance companies, rather than acting as a safety net, become gatekeepers, denying coverage or imposing high deductibles that make healthcare inaccessible to those who need it most. While the machinery of capitalism, with its relentless propaganda and subtle forms of coercion, might seem insurmountable, history offers a resounding testament to the indomitable spirit of resistance that burns within the human heart. The seeds of dissent, sown by the very injustices inherent in the system, are beginning to sprout, nourished by a growing awareness of the deep-seated flaws of an economic order that prioritizes profit over people, competition over cooperation, and endless growth over the well-being of our planet. From the streets of major cities to the digital commons of the internet, a new wave of resistance is building, fueled by a diverse coalition of voices. Workers struggling to make ends meet in a system rigged against them. Students burdened by crippling debt, activists fighting for social and environmental justice, and everyday citizens disillusioned by a system that no longer serves their needs. This burgeoning movement, while diverse in its composition and tactics, is united by a common goal to challenge the hegemony of capitalism and create a more just, equitable, and sustainable world. In the face of capitalism's immense power, individuals standing alone often find themselves outmatched. It is through collective action, through the power of organized labor and social movements, that ordinary people can begin to level the playing field. Unions, once a powerful force for workers' rights, are experiencing a resurgence as workers recognize the need for collective bargaining power. From factory floors to the gig economy, workers are organizing, demanding better wages, safer conditions, and a voice in decisions. The gig economy has become a battleground for workers' rights as they demand fair compensation and an end to exploitative practices. In an era saturated with information where the average person is bombarded with a constant stream of news, advertisements, and social media updates, the battle for hearts and minds is often fought on the terrain of narrative. Capitalism, with its vast resources and control over major media outlets, has long excelled at shaping public opinion, framing debates, and subtly reinforcing its narratives of individualism, consumerism, and the inevitability of the current economic order. However, cracks are beginning to appear in this carefully constructed edifice as people increasingly turn to alternative sources of information and engage in critical thinking that challenges the dominant narratives. The rise of independent media outlets, often operating on shoestring budgets, and fueled by the passion of citizen journalists and activist reporters, is providing a vital counterpoint to the corporate-controlled media that often serves as a mouthpiece for the powerful. These alternative platforms, often found online and through social media channels, provide a space for marginalized voices, critical perspectives, and in-depth analysis that challenges the superficiality and often biased reporting of mainstream media. Resistance is essential for challenging capitalism, but we must also imagine and build alternatives for a just and sustainable world. This collective endeavor requires creativity and commitment from all walks of life. Communities worldwide are experimenting with alternative models of economic organization and governance. These initiatives offer a glimpse of a more just and equitable future. Throughout history, the human story has been intertwined with the struggle for a more just and equitable world. From ancient rebellions against tyrants to modern movements for civil rights and social justice, the desire for a fairer society, recognizing the dignity and worth of all, has been a constant thread in human experience. Capitalism, despite its claims of progress, has not extinguished this yearning for a better world. It has intensified it, exposing deep contradictions and injustices. The current moment, while challenging, presents a unique opportunity for change. Forces pushing towards inequality and environmental devastation are awakening a new consciousness, a growing awareness of our interconnected fate and the need for collective action. The crises we face are not isolated, but symptoms of a failing system. They are a wake-up call reminding us we cannot continue on this path without jeopardizing human civilization. We are living in an era of profound transformation, a time of great upheaval and even greater possibility. The global capitalist system, the dominant economic force for centuries, is facing unprecedented challenges, its inherent contradictions and unsustainable practices becoming increasingly apparent. The gap between rich and poor continues to widen. The environment groans under the weight of human consumption, and the very foundations of democracy are being eroded by the corrosive influence of money and power. Yet amidst these daunting challenges, a new spirit of resistance is emerging, a growing chorus of voices demanding a more just, equitable, and sustainable world. The task before us is not simply to reform the current system, to tinker around the edges of a fundamentally flawed model. We are being called upon to engage in a process of radical reimagination, to envision and build alternative systems that prioritize human well-being and ecological sustainability over profit and endless growth. This will require a fundamental shift in our values, priorities, and understanding of what constitutes a good life. It will demand that we challenge deeply ingrained assumptions about human nature, competition, and the role of the market. The challenges we face are collective in nature, and so too must be our response. The time for complacency, for remaining on the sidelines while others fight for our future, is long gone. Each and every one of us has a role to play in this unfolding drama, a responsibility to contribute to the creation of a more just and sustainable world. This is not a burden to be shouldered, but rather an invitation to participate in one of the most important and transformative moments in human history. The first step is to educate ourselves, to deepen our understanding of the systemic issues at play, to move beyond the simplistic narratives and false dichotomies that often dominate public discourse. We must engage in critical thinking, questioning the information we consume, seeking out diverse perspectives, and engaging in respectful dialogue with those who hold different viewpoints. Knowledge is power, and an informed citizenry is essential for any successful movement for social change.